Number 25. Vernin Supreme promises ponies for everyone. Although Vernon has made a lot of crazy promises in his political career, the promise to provide everyone with ponies and move the United States to a pony-based economy really topped off the list. Number 24. John Edwards promises to cure diabetes, Parkinsons, and Alzheimer's. John Edwards went so far as to say that if him and John Kerry are elected president, then people like Christopher Reeves will get up out of their chairs and walk again. Number 23. Herman Cain promises to veto any bill longer than 3 pages. Although he had a point with his statement, because legislation does have a tendency to get a bit wordy, Herman didn't really manage to get anyone to take him seriously with this promise. Number 22. Dan Quayle promises the best educated American people in the world. Dan promises the country that no other nation in the world will have better educated American citizens. Touche, Dan, touche. Number 21. Hillary Clinton promises that everyone will know who wears the pantsuits. Apparently, if Hillary is in the White House, then there will be no question as to who is in the White House. Number 20. Ronald Reagan promises to not exploit his opponent's youth and inexperience. Unfortunately, Ronald, it may be a little too late for that. Number 19. Dan Quayle promises the future will get better tomorrow. This one's a bit of a mind bender. You'll probably need some Tylenol just to try wrapping your head around it. Number 18. Sarah Palin promises to stand by America's North Korean allies. Have you ever tried to read a globe upside down? Well, don't, because things like this happen. Number 17. Hunter Thompson promises to replace the streets of Aspen with sod. When Thompson was running for sheriff of Pitkin County in 1970, he promised he would tear up all the asphalt in Aspen, replace it with sod, and use the asphalt to build a parking lot just outside the city. Number 16. Dennis Kucinich promises to arrest George W. Bush. Although he had repeatedly called for the impeachment and arrest of George W., Dennis essentially made this his platform, going so far as to warn the Bush administration that they should know their Miranda rights. Number 15. Sarah Palin promises she will be more rogue. Although she has probably already achieved maximum rogueness, Sarah made promises to come back with even more. Number 14. George Bush promises flying ticket counters. This one is best if read in its entirety. Quote, I am here to make an announcement that this Thursday, ticket counters and airplanes will fly out of Ronald Reagan Airport. End quote. Number 13. Bill Clinton promises his administration was the funnest. Although he can't run anymore and the promise was slightly belated, Clinton seemed to think that although he may not have been the greatest president, he had the most fun 8 years. Number 12. Jello Biafra promises to make businesswomen wear clown suits. While running for mayor of San Francisco in 1980, the dead Kennedy singer came up with a quote-unquote funny platform. Number 11. Al Gore promises that zebras will not change their spots, or their stripes, or whatever it is that zebras have these days. Number 10. Michelle Bachman promises to withdraw from Libya and Africa. After reading enough of these, it may start to seem as though politicians don't necessarily have the strongest grasp on geography. Number 9. Ronald Reagan promises to be awake. According to Ronald, he quote-unquote has orders to be awakened at any time in the case of a national emergency, even if he's in a cabinet meeting. End quote. Number 8. Warren Harding promises a return to normalcy. Although this doesn't seem like an outlandish claim by any means, given how crazy political promises have become, in some ways, not making a ridiculous promise is pretty ridiculous. Number 7. Herman Cain promises to eliminate commerce, education, and energy. As if his plan to cut all 3 of these government departments wasn't crazy enough, he only managed to remember 2 of them during his presidential debate. Number 6. Herbert Hoover promises a chicken in every pot. Although it was never directly stated by Hoover himself, the party convention ran this slogan to advertise his platform of prosperity. Number 5. Eisenhower promises that things are more like they are now than they ever were before. Sometimes it's good just to get the obvious stuff out of the way so you can focus on the more important matters at hand. Number 4. Newt Gingrich promises a moon colony. Not only did Newt promise a moon colony, he promised it by the end of his second term in the year 2020. Number 3. Will Ferrell promises cheese wheels. Although the actor never actually ran for president, he did promise to provide every American home with a wheel of cheese if he were to be elected. Number 2. Barack Obama promises not to call Mitt Romney weird. Prior to all the mudslinging of the most recent presidential campaign, Obama vowed not to call Mitt weird, which is itself a little weird. And number 1, Teddy Roosevelt promises not to run next time. It seems a little counterintuitive, but apparently it struck a chord with voters. It didn't, however, stop Roosevelt from running for a third term in 1912.